First, though, let's talk to John Allison, who's a director at K9 Training. John, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
We've
Thanks
got
for
this.
having me on.
Thanks very much indeed for joining us. We've got this incredible story today, a bit of an investigation that we've done here at Talk, seeing that there are 3 dogs basically destroyed every single day in 2023, an increase of something like 70% over the previous year. I mean, is there something going on out there that we don't know about?
Well, I think that statistic alone, just in 2023, is extremely worrying.
Yeah.
But it goes much, much deeper than that. The Dangerous Dogs Act has been in power now, or in place, sorry, for 33 years. And in that 33 years, we have seen a huge rise in the dangerous dogs scenario. In the last 20 years alone, hospitalisations are up almost 200%. That is extremely concerning, and it shows that the act that's in place is simply not fit for purpose. And again, backed up by the investigation done by Talk Radio, that the number of dogs euthanised in 2023, is simply disgraceful.
Yeah, it's a significant number, 1,371 in 2023. It found that 4,164 dogs were seized by authorities. But what's interesting as well, John, is that only less than a third of them are those dogs that you might describe as pit bull terriers or other so-called prohibited breeds. So a lot of, what you might call ordinary dogs are being seized as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just need to look at, since 2020, there has been 26 fatal dog attacks. And in those 26 fatal attacks, 11 different breeds have been involved in that. And even within those 11 different breeds, if you were to put those dogs in front of someone like myself, I could guarantee you that they are not the exact breed that is being said. So, for example, 11 of those dogs are alleged to be XL bullies. However, based on the images I have seen of dogs involved in certain incidents, there is not 11 XL bullies in that. There is many bully mutts, as we would describe them.
Right.
So this is a huge issue across the board. But personally, the root cause of this lies at a severe lack of education. And it also lies at the lack of consequence. Now, we also understand that there is a consequence in place in the system. However, it's not being utilised.
No, but that's
Should
the problem.
Be utilised.
That's the problem, isn't it? Because people are saying a lot of people have dogs. They keep them indoors all day. They're not getting properly exercised, so naturally they're going to be sort of pent up. They might be more aggressive. I'm going to show you a picture of my own dog's nose, I think, in a moment, which is Ziggy. He got bitten. You can see the little 2 bite marks. He was bitten by a spaniel. Right, and the woman who had the spaniel said, "Oh, he's a little bit aggressive, but I'll let him off. He likes to play." Lets him off the lead, and he immediately just goes and bites. And I've got a very docile Labrador, too docile in my view, but he just sort of stood there and sort of yelped at it. This little thing bit him on the nose. I mean, he's fine, but that kind of thing happens more and more now.
Absolutely, and I think you just have to look at the incident recently in South Yorkshire that involved a spaniel and a young baby.
Yeah.
And in that situation, the Chief Inspector, Emma Cheney of South Yorkshire Police, who is ahead of the task force dealing with dangerous dogs, said herself that this highlights that any dog has the ability to cause harm and injury, no matter its breed.
Yeah.
And this goes on to support everything that we are campaigning for. We don't dispute that the UK has a serious number of dangerous dogs, but it is not breed specific, and that's what we need to deal with. And in that, we have a very, very clear pathway out of this, and it involves a programme that I created myself alongside other professionals. But it's education, licence, and consequence. Now, should we go to the middle part of that in the licensing, there is over 10 million households in the UK that have dogs.
Right.
Should we go with a figure of £40 per household for a dog licence per year? That figure is huge, £400 million per year that the dog community can fund by itself, that will pay for the education, that will pay for the licensing process, that will pay for safe areas for dogs to be exercised, that can provide grants, because we all know, you might be in a fortunate position today, and we live in a society where you could lose your job at any time or find yourself in some financial difficulty.
Yeah.
So that the dog community can provide its own grants within that, to help support training, because training should be mandatory across the board. You should also only be allowed to own a dog. Your license should be granted based on your own circumstances and your understanding of being able to fulfill your dog's breed
Right.
needs. So if you have a Springer Spaniel and you work in an office 12 hours a day, that is not the correct dog for you.
No.
There's not really a correct dog for you if you are in an office 12 hours a day, but if you can't provide the breed needs for that dog, then you should not have it simply.
Yeah.
But education needs to start in schools, and the dog community can fund it itself. It can have no impact on the government's spending. You know, we can provide that funding by ourselves should the licensing be brought in.
Right, exactly right. Because, I mean, one of the numbers, I know you say it's not breed specific, but there are thought to be as many as 100,000 XL bully dogs roaming around this country. And considering the fact that they're supposed to have been, either, made illegal, given muzzles to wear, being taken somewhere else or put down. I mean, that's a large number of these dogs, isn't it?
It's extremely worrying, yes. I think what you need to highlight as well is that we have a huge number of responsible owners that with XL bullies. I see them almost on a daily basis coming through my training centre. However, on the flip side, we do have irresponsible owners that do own XL bullies, and that's where the consequence needs to come in. Those irresponsible owners must be consequenced.
Yeah.
If we consequence them, it will deter them from acting in such a manner that is negligent with these dogs, and ultimately they're putting the dogs and the public at risk.
No, quite. And just one final question to you, John, because it was put to me by a listener. Is there any chance that diet on dogs is likely to make them more aggressive, or likely to make them more dangerous, depending on what they eat?
Well, I think you have to look, when you look at animal behaviour, you look at, every area of it. Is it on the correct diet? Is the dog suffering from any pain, etc.? However, training is what will either resolve these issues, or it is an inherent issue within that dog. Now, the XL bully was not bred to be a danger. It was actually bred to be the opposite. If you look back to its origins in America, they wanted to create the designer pit bull, which was taking the drive out of the pit bull to create what is the American bully. Now, if a dog is on a poor diet, then yes, that could contribute to its behaviour, but it would not make it an inherent danger.
Okay, interesting stuff. John, thank you very much indeed. John Allison, Director of K9 Training.